Hello, I wanted to give you an update on the beginning of our year here, our academic year at Greenville Seminary. We've had a great beginning to the year. Last week, classes started on Wednesday. This is our first full week of classes. The week before that, we had orientation and then our convocation Friday evening. And it's just a delight to welcome these new students. We have our largest group of in-person MDiv students in the history of the seminary. So we're grateful to the Lord for that. What a great blessing that is. And we're excited to see these students not only plug in to their classes, but also get involved in local churches in the area and meet each other and enjoy fellowship with each other. And all of that's happening. And so I wanted to communicate some of that excitement to you and to thank those of you who have made this possible through your support and then through praying for us. We're grateful to you, particularly for your prayers. Pray that we remain faithful and pray that the Lord continues to provide for us and for these students. And we look forward even now to the day 4 years from now when these students will be walking across the platform and, Lord willing, receiving calls to churches and serving the Lord for many years to come. One of the things that we've seen this year, one of the trends that we've seen, is an increased number of international students. And this is a delight to us because we want to serve the church here in the United States, but we really want to serve the church around the world as the Lord fulfills his great commission through his people. And so we love welcoming students from all different cultures and all different countries. Now, when we welcome them in, the understanding, and it's very clear, we're clear with them and they're clear that they're going back. And so we look forward to seeing them go back and be used by the Lord in their home countries. What that also means, though, is that there are increased needs for scholarships. All of our students are significantly underwritten by the generosity of God's people like you. And our international students usually require an even greater financial commitment from our donors. And so I actually have in my hand a number of scholarship applications that we were just going through, and we're grateful that the Lord's provided the means for us to be able to scholarship these students. And that's happened because of many, many generous donors. But I wanted to come to you, some of you are donors already, but I wanted to come to you, whether you're a donor already or whether you haven't yet been able to make a financial commitment. And I wanted to ask you to consider becoming a monthly donor of GPTS. And for some of you, that might be in addition to what you're giving. And for some of you, it might be a way for you to get involved and invest in the work that the Lord's doing here. The way this works is you can just go to our website and click on the donate button, and there's a page there for you to enter to be a monthly donor, and it's very straightforward. But I wanted to tell you this, if we have 12 monthly donors at $50 a piece, that pays all the tuition for either an international student or a domestic student. Now, the tuition amount is significantly underwritten already, so really what we need is around 30 donors at $50 a month to underwrite the academic expenses for a student. And for our international students, there are more expenses because we help them with their living costs and things like that. But think about that. 12 donors at $50 a month pays the full tuition for a student, and 30 pays the actual academic cost for these students. So I want you to consider that and think about how you might invest in a monthly way, in an ongoing way. We're also going to be coming to you at the end of the year because the Lord provides for us significantly at the end of the year. But that monthly donor opportunity is something that we really need to increase in order to continue to make this education affordable and sustainable. Along those lines, I had a donor recently send me a study that she found from Duke University. I was not familiar with this study, fairly recent study, and it's alarming. I wanted to bring it to your attention just to help you pray and to help you give thanks to the Lord for what he's doing here. The study said this, that for those students who graduate from seminary and enter the pastorate, 85% of them are gone within the first 5 years. They're out of the pastorate completely within the first 5 years, 85%. So that means all those who had helped subsidize their education, all those who had helped them along the way, 85% aren't serving in pastoral ministry in just 5 years. Now, I say all that, number one, to say pray for your pastors and pray for seminarians. It's difficult out there, and we know the washout rate is incredibly high. But also, when you pray, rejoice, because the Lord has done an amazing thing throughout the history of our seminary. 92%, between 92 and 93% actually, of our graduates over the entire course of our seminary's history, our MDiv graduates are still persisting in pastoral ministry. That is a remarkable thing, and we give thanks to the Lord for it. It's due to the grace of God, but it's also due to the fact that so many of you over the years have generously contributed to make the education of our seminarians affordable, so that they don't graduate with a burden of debt, but they graduate with a burden for the lost and a burden for serving Christ's church for the long haul. That's what we pray for. That's what we know the Lord desires of us, to train up men who will serve him, give their lives to him in service to his church. Please continue to pray for that. Think about how you can help us in other ways, perhaps even help us financially. And thank you for all that you've done to make this new academic year possible. We rejoice with you, and we rejoice for you when we go to the Lord in prayer.